There you go. Well, this is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with a returning guest, former world champion in grappling. And this year, she got second at the No-Gi Black Belt Worlds, which is pretty cool. And of course, you've done some pro wrestling. You've done some interviews for pro wrestling as an interviewer, an interviewee. You just came
Yeah.
from WrestleCon. You're very busy. The daughter of Tito Santana, who you talked to at WrestleCon too, but we won't get into that yet. But how are you doing today? You look great. This is actually my favorite outfit I've seen you in. I have to say this is
What?
my favorite. That's my favorite outfit I've seen you in.
Why? It's a necklace?
The necklace and the dark colors. I don't usually
Uh,
see you in
I'm
black.
always in black, though. I feel like I'm always in black.
Maybe not the times we've seen each other in person.
Yeah, probably not.
So there
Oh
you
my
go.
God. I'm usually in gold when I see you.
Yeah, you look kind of medievalish today. I don't know, kind of. Anyways, so what have you been up to for the people that haven't know? I think the last interview on here was this weird one with King of Connecticut. It was entertaining but
Oh,
unusual. You were
that
cooking and
was
stuff.
so long ago, too. Yeah, that was so long ago. That was probably like years ago. God, what have I been up to since then? I don't even think I had my black belt then. So I got my black belt. I'm still competing in jiu-jitsu, but like you said, I was second in Nogi Worlds this year. And I don't know why my eye looks so weird. Um, and then so still doing jujitsu all the time. Wrestling. I don't think I'm really training as I mean I was training, but not really training anymore. I've done a few things in ring. I work with Demand Lucha, so I'm up there. We did some things in the ring. I also do a lot of the interviews there, so we do backstage interviews, which is awesome. I still have the clinic in Las Vegas. So if you're ever in Las Vegas and need stem cells, Infinite Wellness. And then I just did a music video, which was super cool. An upcoming artist who is going to be viral. Can't believe she's not already. Nikki Page. She had a video come out called Encore, and I was in the music video. And then she just had a live performance, but I was part of it too. She played at Whiskey, I think it was Whiskey Pete's in LA, and she did like a 12 set performance. It was awesome. Every song was like better than the last one. I have favorites for sure, some of which haven't come out yet, but it was awesome to be on stage with her and during the encore song, which was pretty cool. So, and then like you said, WrestleCon. So WrestleCon is always awesome because people will reach out to me on social media and then they'll get a chance to meet me and then we'll get to talk in person. So things like that are always great.
And you, I believe, Infinite Wellness, by the way, the one thing I will say, you guys need to have like a website that's easy to say or remember because it's always hard to get a website out of you guys. There's a New Jersey location, which I've been to a bunch of times. I haven't been to Las Vegas yet. Hopefully one day because I certainly need
Our
more. But
website is super easy. It's just infinitewellness.info.
okay, you should have shirts done for all of the quote unquote celebrities, some more famous than others that
Yeah. So
come.
what's awesome about Infinite Wellness in Las Vegas is we have a wall where all our celebrities sign it. So it's pretty cool that it's growing. And then we also have a video on loop that shows, like for lack of a better word, like why they're famous. So if it's a fighter, it'll be like they're in ring when they win the championship, or if it's an actor, like a scene from their movie or something. So it's pretty cool to put on loop and play when you come to the clinic and see that. So
And they actually had a table at WrestleCon this year where you were with Brian Cage and
yeah.
Enzo. I know you know Brian Cage from a long time ago because he would come to the school you train at. I think there's an interview with him on here from you at an
Yeah.
event that you did. So what's your
Actually,
talk to us about him to start?
so the last time I actually did train wrestling, which was maybe a few months ago, it was actually with Brian at FSW. So he's always like hitting me up to train, and he's a great trainer. He actually did jujitsu for a while too, so he trains in martial arts. So we were able to do some rolling around too. but obviously he's way larger than I am. But it was great to have him at the table. People love him, fans love him. He's doing great stuff right now in AEW. So hopefully he'll just keep rising. But he's an amazing wrestler, athletic wise, and also like the mental aspect of it. So putting matches together and things like that.
Yeah, I collaborate with Dan Severin's channel, and I put a few clips of him on here recently, but I liked his interview with Dan
We
Severin. How's his
So
pardon me?
funny thing is, we were just at PFL, and I saw Dan Severin, and I've talked to him on the phone a few times about coming into the clinic, but I've never met him in person. And then I wanted to introduce myself, but I saw him walk one way, and they were like, "Oh, that's Dan Severin." And then when he came, I don't think he ever came back our way, but I was like, "Oh, dang it."
Well, I'm sure he would love to have you on his podcast, so I'll let him know about you. But he's involved in stem cells himself in Phoenix. He's had a bunch, and I
Okay,
think he might actually like have a be involved with a clinic there.
okay.
But
No, I'd like to do his podcast though. Hook it up.
oh yeah, 100%. He's we have a collaboration deal. Someone wants to know, have you met Ryback, Disco, Inferno, or RVD? They all live in Las Vegas.
So Ryback was at the clinic not that long ago. We had I think it was like the beginning of the year. We had an event where we invited a lot of people who came in, and he actually was one of them. So he was treated at our clinic. RVD's been treated at our clinic right when we opened, like a long time ago. So him and Katie have both been in there. And Disco, I don't know who that is.
Disco Inferno, yeah, he's kind of off the map. He was in WCW for a while. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he was working at some club as a bouncer or something in Vegas.
I don't think I've met him yet, though. Although sometimes I'm awful with names, so I might look it up and be like, "Oh yeah, he was in there last week," but I don't think so because the name doesn't ring a bell too much.
Now I hear your dog in the background. I've been told this is a very frightening dog.
Gosh. So now we have two dogs, and my uncle's actually coming to stay with us. So we were like getting all the dog hair, making sure it's like spotless. And I have awful allergies. So my eyes are like super swollen from the allergies. But, anyways, my dog, he is like 110 pounds. He's a German Shepherd. The second one is actually another German Shepherd. I think he's like 8 or 9 months now. They're the exact same size height wise, but he's probably a little bit he weighs less, the puppy, but they're so sweet. I mean, when I used to walk, Blaze is our first puppy, and he's 5 now. We used to walk him at the park, and he wasn't around anyone except our family. So he doesn't really like anyone except our family. And he used to bark at these people. The one time they were like, "Dude, take your hellhound home." And like, he was 100 pounds, so he's like hard to control. So we're like, maybe the park isn't the best for this dog anymore. But now he's super sweet. He loves people. Not if you come in the house, but if he's out of the house, he's more approachable.
Yeah, AJ, who's been in a couple videos on this channel recently, for the fans, the guy that looks kind of like Captain Lou Albano, he said your dog's very scary.
Yeah, he hasn't seen him in person, but he hears him sometimes, like when I'm talking to him. And I know he's been out. He might have been outside. Like, I think we were together in Vegas once because he comes to the clinic sometimes, and I was like, "You can't come in the house because the dog will kill you." So he just has to. Anyone who's with me just really waits in the car. I did have a friend once who came over, and he was like, "No, I really want to meet the dog. I'm great with dogs." I'm like, "Okay, if you really want to, try." And so he came in. the house, and Blaze started barking and barking, and he was like petting him, and he thought he was gonna like do a breakthrough, and then Blaze started like nipping him, and so he nipped him a few times, and he's like, okay, I think that I'm just gonna go outside and wait for you.
Yeah, I would say Piper nips, but dogs your size, I wouldn't call that a nip. But
I warned
yeah,
him though. I did warn him, so I was
you
like,
don't
you
need to
can't.
worry about burglars between your black belt and those two beasts. Plus, your son is pretty big, and your
Yeah,
daughter
he's
can
bigger
probably
than me
kick you.
now. Yeah, my son's bigger than me now, which is crazy to think about. And my daughter, she can hold her own. Tried to get her to do jujitsu, but she won't.
Disco Inferno works at Sapphire's Club. There you go.
I
For
think that's a
anyone
strip
visiting Vegas.
club. I've never been there,
Yeah,
but
he doesn't look big or a fighter, so I would guess he's probably a host there. But yeah, you're. And speaking of your daughter, someone says your daughter's stunning. When can we
oh,
expect her in pro wrestling?
she is not interested in pro wrestling at all. But she is trying to build like her own social media presence. So that's a work in progress.
Now, Enzo was at the table too. I know he's got a ton of stem cell shots, and he looks actually better than I ever remember him looking. How is it hanging out with him?
It's awesome hanging out with him. That's funny you say that because like he looks better every time I see him. But he has so much energy, and it was great hanging out with him because you watch him on social media, and I think like even when he used to do wrestling, like he's very loud and outgoing. But when he's one on one with fans, like he is the most caring person in the world. Like kids will come up to him, he will spend as much time as it takes for like a good conversation that has good connection. He'll talk to them. Sometimes he won't even charge the kids. Like it's just he's such a genuine human being. It's really awesome. It was really awesome to share the table with him.
That's cool. And yeah, I know he's been getting stem cells for a lot of years, and he is looking great.
Yeah.
So that's the advantage of living in a city that has one of those clinics with nice people like AJ hooking them up. Someone says when you spoke to your dad at WrestleCon, was he more open to you than in the past? How did
So
that happen, anyways? We had an author. I think you may or may not have seen it, but
yeah, I
we
did see
the
it.
guy witnessed it, and he had done an interview with Tito, so he was. I'm curious to read that part of his book. Supposedly, he asked him about you.
Yeah, so I saw the show with the guy on. I'm sorry that I forget his name right now. I could
Yeah,
picture his
six
face.
pack of the journey to WrestleMania, something like
Yeah.
that is his book.
So when you interviewed him, he said Tito was visibly annoyed when I walked up to him, and I laughed so bad because that is a very accurate description of what his face showed when I did walk up to him. And so he was at WrestleCon, and he was there all 3 days, like I was. And initially, someone must have reached out and was like, is this okay if Jenni comes because Tito's coming? And I'm like, why would he care? Because we had a conversation maybe like 2 years ago or a year. Yeah, like 2 years ago in Jersey. And he was like, yeah, I want to support your wrestling. Anything I can do to help, just let me know. That was the extent of it. Like he didn't really want to get to know me, but he's like, yeah, if I can support you, and like gave the okay. Was great with having like the name Jenni Santana. That's great. But then it's still the same thing, and I think the author even talked about it in his book, if I remember correctly, of how his wife didn't want him to pursue a relationship, and so now we're here. God, it probably like years later, like it's a bunch of years later, and it's still the same thing. Like so, he still doesn't want to pursue a relationship because his wife doesn't want him to pursue a relationship. I don't know why. So that's just he's like, if the time ever comes, but um she's never gonna be okay with it. I'm not sure why she's not okay with it. Like the facts are the facts. I have my suspicions of why she's not okay with it, but I don't really know.
Yeah, it was interesting because the one interview with the captain that he actually let me post on here that I know you saw when he was asked about you, he acknowledged it and everything, but then in the same conversation, he said, "Yeah, I never really made any money and all this, but it's not like you're even asking for money." But he
Yeah.
did make a lot of money, and he was also a teacher for years with probably a teacher's pension, and he's smart. He's not one of these guys that wasted all of his money. So that's a good answer, but it's like you're not even after that. You just want to like get to know him a bit, I guess. So it's
Yeah,
just
so
funny
that
that
was
he's
the preemptive thing, was like, I don't have any money. I'm pretty sure when I called him and the very first time we spoke, like that was the first sentence out of his mouth was, I don't have any money. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a grown woman who has my own money. I'm not asking you for money. And it was pretty sad that he even kind of thought that. But I was like, first of all, if we wanted money, we would have came after you in the 80s, right? When you were on top of the world winning WWE. So that clearly wasn't what I was looking for. But I wanted to give him the chance to get to know him. He has three sons, and of his three sons, I will say, I think that I probably am almost the most, not the most like him, but went down a similar path to him. I know that one of his sons played football, but then had a knee injury and didn't play anymore. But I would say, like, of his three sons, like, I'm the most athletic still to this day. And so I think I share a lot of qualities with him. And so, I think I've said this numerous times, like, you always have the debate, like, nature versus nurture. Usually nature will win. And so, the thing is, we share DNA. I have similar qualities to him. So it would have been nice to get to know him and like see that connection, I guess, and kind of maybe develop a relationship and grow, since there I don't know, like, we are similar. We share things, and I went into wrestling, he was a wrestler. But not only that, like, I was an athlete well before I even thought about wrestling. Had I found out about him a long time ago, I'd probably be a professional wrestler full time. I don't know, but um, I feel like I have a lot of qualities similar to him, like life path. And I was working in education, and so just those similarities that have happened, that are present without ever getting to know him, or until oh, here's your biological father. Oh, that makes sense because we have this, and this in common. So
and you also have like you look like you could be his daughter. Like you have similar qualities in some ways as well. But it's
yeah,
true. It's too bad because like you're the only uh I guess kid that has interest in wrestling, for instance, and could actually like keep the name out there a bit and kind of get like you'd think he'd be proud. You're a judo or a grappling world champion. You're
yeah.
gorgeous, and you're into wrestling. You're getting bookings on your own, pretty much through contacts you've made,
In
and
spite of him,
yeah,
even. It's so nuts.
I hope he actually comes around because you're a nice person, and I know you don't hold that against him like too badly compared to some people. But and I hope that he can come around, like maybe if more of the fans get on his case about it.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, I think that it's funny because even reading the book, like when you read the book that guy wrote, you'll see that he portrayed himself a certain way. And I think in the book, I'm not going to say the exact quote, but the author said he like bought into his own hype about being the babyface Tito Santana. And I think that's 100% true. Like, he's been playing the role of Tito Santana for so long. Like, things he did in his personal life, he just disregards them or ignores them if they don't go along with that. So it's strange, and I don't know.
apparently they talked about it on the Chris Jericho podcast too, so maybe you'll have to actually listen to that. That's pretty cool that Chris Jericho must have talked
Yeah.
about you. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't. I'll definitely have to watch it though.
But
because
he's saying the same thing. He was conflicted because of his image, so he almost doesn't want to acknowledge. I
yeah.
mean, I like him, but it's like from one my interactions with him. But as a friend of yours and someone that was also adopted, like I never knew my family either until a few years ago. I can
And,
understand how you
at
feel.
this point, like, it's how many years later? If he's been married to his wife for 40 some years, if me coming in the picture kind of ruins that foundation, then that's a little bit sad. By that time, you think you'd be pretty solid, but
Well, anyways, good luck with that, and I'm glad that you're still working on it and you approach it. What was the gist of the conversation? The author said it was about 3 minutes long.
yeah, so it was well, first we started this like podcast Sunday Slam, and I was like, oh, it'll be interesting if we get a quick interview with Tito because it's about like the fans. And so I was like, he probably won't even do it, but what's I might as well ask him what's the worst he can say. And so he did say yeah, he would do it. I think the interview they said lasted like 30 seconds though. So I could tell like he was hesitant and didn't want to like really engage in conversation. But I just kind of asked him about his family. It's literally the exact same situation the last time I talked to him, like one son doesn't talk to him still. And then the other, like, I think everyone else just kind of ignores the fact that I exist. So that that makes their family still go around the merry-go-round.
What was the farewell like? Was it like, hey, talk, check in with me again if we run into each other, or was it just
Oh, I think it was like, I'll reach out to you if I can. Like, then you like the SpongeBob thing 300 years later. I'll just hang out and wait for you to reach out to me. Um, yeah, I don't know.
maybe if his wife passes away, somehow things will change. But
That's so
anyways, you're doing great, and you're
yeah.
looking as good as ever. As far we you mentioned you're doing announcing for various companies, and you haven't been training that much. Have you given up on wrestling? Are you still open to taking bookings if people want to book you for wrestling?
I mean, yes, I'm open to taking bookings. Like, I know that the next show I'm going to be at is Demand Lucha in May in Canada. I just am kind of picky, probably about the bookings I'm taking, just because um I was wrestling so much that I wasn't doing jujitsu. Like I didn't have time for both because I work at a school part time. So 3 days a week I'm out of school until like 4 p.m. And then I still own the clinic and I work out every day, at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. And so when one of those was wrestling, it was impossible to do jujitsu after, not only because of me being exhausted, but just the time constraints, like the time of class and then driving to jujitsu. Like I was missing class. And so my goal when I started jujitsu was to win a major tournament at black belt. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking all this time to wrestle. I'm not really training jujitsu much or if at all. And I'm finally a black belt now. So anyone who trains jujitsu, like it takes 7, 8, 9 years to get a black belt. So of that goal, like I'm only there now to compete for what my goal was. And so I'm so close. I feel like I will never stop training jujitsu, but I think that until that happens, I need to stay focused on that more than practicing wrestling.
Well, Isbin has a good question here. Have you He's asking if HBK, who runs NXT, has called you. Have you even let WWE know that you're wrestling? Because they're always looking for top athletes. I
Um,
mean, and you have the last name. So it's like you would be someone. I know that you're not like in your
Yeah,
20s,
I think
but
they
you're
want
still
me like
athletic.
19. Like if I was 19, they'd probably like snatch me up with one of those things. But I think that they're trying to go with way younger wrestlers to start training. So I'm not sure if they'd I don't know if they'd want me or if they'd be interested. I don't know.
You should at least apply, or somebody should. I don't know. I think it's worth applying while you're still like you just got second at the black belt
Yeah.
world championships. I mean,
But I
you're not over the
definitely
hill.
have learned that I am not a high flyer by any stretch of the imagination. So, um, I see some of these girls now, like last year at WrestleMania when Charlotte Flair, like they do unbelievable flips and stuff. Like, I don't think that I definitely wouldn't be a flippy girl. Like, when I land, I like, Sin Bodhi, my trainer, he always makes fun of me because I'm like a lead balloon, right? So I'm just not light on my feet to flip. And I think that a lot of wrestling has become very or aerobic or acrobatic, I guess, in a sense. So I don't know if I could even keep up with that.
Well, it would be interesting. I think you should fill out one of their recruit applications. Or has Brian Cage, could he get you a tryout with Tony Khan, or is that asking too much from a friend?
I don't know. Like I've met Tony Khan with him before. He took me backstage. I forget what city we were in, and I met him with Brian, but I never kind of asked him, "Hey, give me a tryout or put me on a show." And I would much rather just have like a mic in my hand as opposed to being in the wrestling ring. So, um, I don't know.
What was that meeting like with Tony Khan? Did you get to talk to him at all? What did he say to you?
I just met him briefly because the show was about to start, and I think it was like a pay-per-view show, and so he was very rushed around. But I just met him very briefly.
That's cool. Someone asked your thoughts on AEW in general. You've been to at least one show. What do you think about it?
No, I think they're great. I like, they've got their own niche, so they're they could everyone. I think everyone can improve, but I think they're doing well. So I think they could use Brian differently, and he could start smashing more. But other than that, um, I don't watch it enough to have like a concrete opinion on it. But I know Tony's very passionate about wrestling, so I mean that's
Yeah.
good that the person in charge is passionate about it.
I mean, they have way too many people on their roster to use guys like Brian properly, and they don't give Brian enough time because he's one guy that could be a much bigger star, but they have so many people that there's just not enough camera time, sadly. But I hope he gets pushed more. Is he still injured, or is he doing better?
He's doing better. So I know he had some injuries, but he's working through them. So
This is something interesting. Karate Combat mentioned you today at an event in Dubai. Did you sign a contract with Karate Combat? That's what Boss Rutan runs. And Boss
um
has appeared on this
I don't
channel.
know. I would I'm like hesitant to say there's another Jenni Santana, but I don't know. It was if they have mentioned me, that is news to me. But I don't
Yeah,
think
because
there's
you're.
another Jenni Santana out there. I don't know. If there is,
That's
I'd like to
interesting.
see who keeps the name.
Are you familiar with that? I've seen it.
No, I know Karate Combat, yeah, but we've even had patients. We actually had a patient not too long ago from Dubai. So
Someone says they totally did talk about you, so I guess we'll have to watch that and see
I'm
what
gonna
the.
have to check it out. I'm gonna Google it after this. If send
You,
me a link on Instagram about it.
where can they? We'll let them know where they can follow you on Instagram because I haven't logged into Instagram for so long I don't even remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
so my Instagram handle is Jenni_Santana_, and you'll see me and all my life purpose on that page. And then I have a Twitter account. I hardly use it, like because we were communicating back and forth, and I missed messages for a long time because I hardly ever go on it. But it's also Jenni_Santana_. But I'm trying the story of my life. I'm trying to get better with social media, but Instagram for sure. Reach out, follow me if you can, support, and if you find the Karate Combat thing, send it my way.
Yeah, because that'd be very interesting, very newsworthy.
Want to go to Dubai and work for Karate Combat now? Let's go.
The money would be great, I'm sure, if it's over in Dubai. They must have some sheiks or something sponsoring it if it's over there. I was
Do you
just
think
talking to
it's
someone
over
at the gym
there?
today who came back from Dubai recently and was talking about all the money over there.
Did they were they over there when it was flooding?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. They were
yeah,
having problems getting out of the they had to actually get out of the taxi because there was 3 feet of water.
yeah. And then I've
Uh,
seen like cars completely submerged underwater, and it was just it's crazy. So it's got
someone
to
is
dry out a little for me to go there, but
Yeah, I'm sure they're not. I don't know if what the situation would be. Hopefully, it's announcing and not getting your face beat in because you have a lot of people on here talking about how beautiful you are.
a kickboxing match, and she breaks my nose the first 2 seconds out.
Yeah, and for this, or sorry, there's another. Someone says they mainly are in Mexico as well. But someone says, "How are you related to Charlie Haas? Even though you appeared with him once on this channel and share
Yeah,
a shoot last name with him, explain
we
that."
are not related at all. We he was at the one show that I was a GM for, and he was announcing, and then we took a photo, and he tweeted it out or sent it out, and was like, "I want to introduce you to Jennifer Haas," and so all these people, like his family members, everything, were like, "What? You got married and this is your wife?" And we're like, "No, it just happens to be my last name, but it's not because I'm married to Charlie Haas."
Have you heard anything about him recently? Because I think that was like one of his last, if not his
Yeah,
last public appearance, and he seems to have disappeared.
yeah. I mean, I heard some stuff, and they were saying he was going through it. And I reached out to him a few times, I think, but I haven't heard back. But I did see that he posted not that long ago. I think he lives in, I'm sorry if I forget, but I think it's Florida now. He lives in Florida with his sons now. So I did see like one or two posts recently. So he did start posting again. So hopefully he's doing better.
So he moved out of Texas.
I believe so. Yeah.
Interesting. Someone wants to know if you're friend. Well, we know that you're not friends with Severin. You already told that story. Are you friends with Don Fry or Ken Shamrock?
I have never met Kim Shamrock or Dan Fry. Probably like if that those are they're probably a little bit older, but I do like I'm good friends with Sean Strickland. He's in MMA right now. We Cody Garbrandt was in the office the other day, so probably people that are kind of active now as a fighter. Like I know Joe Pfeiffer pretty well. Impa, we were at the fight for him. Like he got us tickets to it. He was in the PFL. He won the PFL last year, and so he's competing again this year. So
Now you've been to the PFL since I think their new association with Jake Paul. Much different, much improvement with the new people involved.
It's yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was at the very first one where I guess they used to be World Series before, and I was at a bunch of those fights. And then the first season that they had the tournament style for the $1 million, the finals were in Madison Square Garden in New York, and I was in that. I was at that one too. They're doing really well, so they are paying their fighters pretty well, which people really like. And I don't know, see, like they give out a lot of money at the end of the season, so they must be doing really well. They have good backing. I used to know. I actually got a chance to talk to Ray Sefo. He is still involved with PFL, but he was like he's the one who ran World Series, and so it was good to see him. I used to actually train at Extreme Couture a long time ago, not MMA, but I just did like the fitness classes, so I knew him from back then, and it was nice to catch up.
One thing that find kind of funny from UFC 300 last weekend, I don't know if you were there or not, but they made like a $18.5 million gate, not including sponsors or whatever they got from pay-per-view. And they made a big deal that the fighter bonuses
Oh
was
yeah.
300,000 instead of 50. They made
Yeah.
18.5 million, and it's been 50,000 since like it opened. That's still not very much money for the fighters.
Yeah, I was
But
watching their press conference when they asked about that, and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to raise fighter bonuses or whatever." And then they're like, they just throw out this amount, like 300,000, and Dana's like, "Sure." And so now I wonder, like the next pay per view event, if the bonus will go back down to 50,000, or if he kind of raised it a little bit.
because I think it's been 50,000 since like
Oh yeah,
2008.
yeah, I think
Like,
so. But I wonder if he's gonna like raise it now, or it was just those lucky guys on 300 got it.
yeah, because I read the company's worth like 13 point something billion now.
Oh
So the
my.
50,000 bonuses are a little small. Bob Johnson is asking if you are married.
I am not.
There you go. But you have a lot of people commenting on your looks on here, so that's nice. Someone wants to know if you're familiar with Steve Blackman. He's got 4 black belts. Have you ever met him? He's a wrestler too.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's a bail bondsman now, but he was a wrestler that did a martial arts gimmick. Somebody doesn't like the people that are commenting on how beautiful you are. That's funny. Bob Johnson wants to know what are your thoughts on Vince McMahon and that whole scandal thing.
I think that it was probably more common than people think at that time, and now it's only come out. So I think there's a lot I'm sure that could come out, but it hasn't. So I think that he should pay for what he's done, and I don't agree with it. I think WWE did a great thing by disconnecting from him. I think they had to. They didn't have a choice. So, but I don't think he's probably the only one that was guilty of things like that. So, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the type of well, you've known about it, the type of business it is for a while now. But he did recently take like a total of like 2 billion of stock out. Do you think he's going to start another company? And would you consider working for it if he was to start another company?
I no. I do not. I don't know what he's doing with this money, but I don't know who would. Um yeah, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but I'm just saying that I think that that has happened a lot, and a lot of stories haven't come out yet. Not involving him, but involving a lot of people in that industry. I wouldn't personally work for him. I think that money isn't everything. So
Someone's asking, are you a follower of women's wrestling? I know you know a lot of the women wrestlers.
yeah, I do know a lot of the indie women wrestlers, which has been awesome. Working at with FSW a lot, and so a lot of the up and coming women wrestlers I got to know personally, and I really enjoy that. I do follow women's wrestling a tad bit. I was at WrestleMania on the first night, so I got to see all the matches that night. But I don't think it's something that I follow religiously. But I am a
Oh
fan.
yeah, that reminds me. What happened with you and Tessa Blanchard? Didn't you guys have some sort of issue at at a show somewhere?
Yeah, that that was like last year at WrestleCon. Um, and I had worked with her. I've not even really worked with her, but I was going to be on WoW, and I had done a few meetings with her, and everything was great. And then I don't even know what went wrong, but and then I know she was going to work with UWW. I don't even remember the timeline exactly, but I remember WrestleCon, and I was talking to Brian, and then she just said something, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. And so and she wanted me to like back down and show her all of this respect. And I'm just not like that. Like, I will 100% respect you if you respect me, and I will go to bat for everyone who is on my side and I'm on their side, and if I'm friends with them. But if you're gonna come at me for nothing, just to open your mouth, I we just got in some like bickering, yelling match, and that was it.
Yeah, because you're such a nice person, and I don't even understand. What would she be mad at you over? Because you're quiet. Like I've seen you
It was,
backstage. You're very
I think,
quiet.
no, I am quiet, but I think she was like, she made some snarky comment like, oh, I would think for someone getting in the wrestling business, they'd want to introduce themselves and say hi to someone who made a name for themselves or was so famous or like something like that. Like she was one of the greatest women wrestlers. And she might be like, she had great matches. Like she's a really great wrestler. Um, but I don't think that, like, I don't know, like I'd say hi to her, but I don't feel like I need to like get on my hands and knees and be like, hi Tessa, hi Tessa, like, pick me. I just think like we were working together at UWW as colleagues. And so then for me to see her the next time and say that, like if she wanted, we had already been introduced, I believe, because UWW was before that. So like if she wanted to say hi to me, she could say hi to me, or not. That's fine too. Like I don't really care, but don't be angry that I didn't say hi to you first. Like if you really wanted to talk to me, just say hey.
Well, I think you made a mistake not beating her up there because you could have easily beat her up with your background, and you would have become famous in women's wrestling because she's one of the most hated people in women's wrestling. I guess because she's had numerous situations like that, but it's usually with women that are like I think Ivalice and her had heat, didn't they? But
Yeah.
you noticed some issues with Ivalice too, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I really no, we just we worked together at UWW. The thing about Tessa, like I heard, what she did in the ring to some girl, and I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with saying like making racial slurs in the ring. And I know like since then they've made up or whatever, but at the same time, like it still doesn't sit that well with me. And I don't know, not that everyone makes mistakes. I just I didn't like when I heard about it. So
Yeah, well, I don't think UWW is around anymore. I'm pretty sure they're not. One of the owners was recently on the Chris Adams documentary on Dark Side of the Ring. But as far as I know, not just you, but multiple people told me the reason they stopped using Ivalice after like an event was because she was acting really weird backstage. Could you elaborate on that?
oh, well, the thing is that they wanted her to like I don't know about be the manager, but like go over all the matches and kind of oversee things. And then when she did that, then it was like, oh, that's too much. So I mean, I can see both sides, but if you're gonna tell someone to do something and then they do it, I don't know why you're angry. Like, I think that there was probably just too many hot heads. And if they would have just sat down and discussed, like, this is my point of view, this is my point of view. But she tends to get a little, I guess, like she doesn't stay calm sometimes when she should, maybe is the best thing.
Yeah, because I haven't heard anything from her since then, and I thought she was good. I'm the one that introduced
Yeah,
her
she's
to
yeah,
those
she's really
owners.
great. She was a great wrestler. I enjoyed her match very much that first time. So
It's too bad. Barbara, you're gonna have to watch the start of this if you want to know her relationship with Tito. We're not going back into that, but I'm putting this up because she says that you're very pretty.
thank you, Barbara.
Someone wants to know, what are your strengths in wrestling? Promos, taking a beating, giving the beatings.
Probably I don't know about promos, but maybe promos. I don't know. We did a few promos in wrestling class. Selling was probably not the. I've gotten way better at selling. At first, I was struggling with selling because from the background that I came in, like you always want to not show your hurt and get right back up. And so I did this one match at FSW when I was up before like the girl who slammed me. And so, that's just a learning experience that I had to learn. And then we did a lot of me and the Heat with Sin Bodhi. And at first he was like, I think you need to sound like my moaning, or like when I was like getting beat up, it sounded a little bit like porny. And so I had to work on that. But probably more weaknesses than strengths. But I would say that about my jujitsu game as a black belt too. So I am not one that will build myself up. I'm definitely realistic, and then I'd rather give you a low expectation and have it be higher than, blow all this smoke up your butt and then you're like, what? But I mean, I don't know. I'd say my jujitsu skills have a lot to be desired too, but then I also won a world champion at brown belt. So I don't know. I'm the hardest talker when I describe myself. So I'm not the
There
best
is
person.
one of your jiu-jitsu matches on this channel if people search Jenni Santana Jiu-Jitsu, the Hannibal TV too. The other thing is Ronda Rousey's been doing a ton of interviews lately. What are your thoughts on her? Have you read her book? Have you seen any of her interviews?
I haven't read her book. I did see the last interview though, about like her fight with Holly, and I saw Holly talk about it too. And I just think that I don't know. Like, at some point you have to admit when someone's better than you. And although it may hurt and you have all these credentials, like it's going to happen to all of us, whether we age out or the next best thing comes along. And I think it's hard for her to kind of accept that. Like that day that she fought Holly, like Holly was a better fighter, she got knocked out. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the results and the history kind of speaks for itself.
Someone wants to know, have you ever met Roddy Piper's daughter Teal? I've interviewed her a
I
couple
did.
times.
I did meet her. I forget where it was, but it was just briefly like, hey, I'm Jenni. Hi. That's it.
This is an interesting question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wrestling, kickboxing with this karate combat,
Yeah,
jujitsu,
maybe
acting.
announcing in Dubai with karate combat. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm open to a lot of things, and so I honestly don't know. Once I win, yeah, I just want to apologize to everyone because when we started this interview, it was still light out and it's progressively gotten darker. I'm literally going to be in pitch black dark soon, but um in 5 years, I still see myself doing jujitsu. Hopefully, I'll have won a world championship by then. Probably still be waiting for Tito to reach out and his wife get better about our relationship. Um, Hopefully, I've had some more ring matches, and I'd love to. I'm not hiding it, but I hope that that's true because I'm going to reach out to them. Um, but yeah, I would
You
love
could turn a light on, by the way. We won't
I know,
mind.
but then I don't like.
What, are you
I,
not wearing pants? Is
I
that the thing?
I am not. It's like a Zoom. Remember? I mean, when during COVID, everyone just like looked presentable from the top up. So I'm back there. I'm gonna text someone to come and turn on the light for me
Okay, very, very interesting. Even someone's commenting, Barbara, you're late, and you didn't realize we're talking about that her lights were off.
though.
Well, this
It was,
guy's saying
it
they
was so
100%
light.
mentioned you, so we're getting a
Was it
scoop
me
today.
or another Jenni Santana though?
No, there's only one.
That's true. There is only one. I
So
don't
as
know.
far,
Like, what did they say though? If he watched it, what did they say?
yeah, is it on YouTube, Colton? And what's the timestamp on that? I'll look it up. Oh, he says it was you, beautiful. You might hold the record of being told you're beautiful the most times in a podcast, and I've had a lot of women on here.
If I am announcing one day for Karate Combat, I will give you a shout out, Colton. Thank you.
Barbara says you do a good angle with Charlotte Flair. What do you think about that?
I think she's an amazing athlete. I mean, I would love to work with her. I think it might have been you who asked me like my dream match. And I was like, well, yeah, that'd be a dream match because, we're both like second gen and athletic. I think, she's been a wrestler forever and she's so advanced, but I'm sure she could make me look half decent in the ring.
Now you mentioned Sin a few times. For people that don't know, that was Kazarni in WWE, who
Yeah.
Jack Kilby actually interviewed on this channel last week. Any stories about him? He seems like quite a character. I met him probably 3 or so times, but never really got to know him.
He's an amazing man. Like you would look at him and think like, "Oh my gosh, this guy is a crazy clown," right? But no, I actually worked with him for he did a Christmas show. He does like a Christmas charity show in Pahrump that was for the kids, and it was all volunteers. And I was the announcer, and then I got to do I was Mrs. Claus, and I got to like save Santa, and yay, we saved Christmas at the end of the show. But I mean, he's amazing. He donates a lot of his time. He does it. He's been in the business for so long. His ring knowledge is so spot on about things like making matches and the height of the match, and it's great to have him share his knowledge. And he was an excellent trainer for me. I loved it. But more than that, like he's a great individual.
Is he still married to the cat? Jerry Lawler's ex. I think he married Stacy Carter at one point.
No, I was actually at his wedding not that long ago. So no, I don't think that's his new wife.
Okay.
But his
Yeah.
current wife, they had met in because he used to do, I forget what it's called, but it might have been like Freak Show or something. And that's where they met. And she's an amazing singer and she's super talented herself. So they make a great couple.
And it's cool that they do an animal rescue type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. They have so many different animals and just great people. So it's an honor to know them.
Rick, well, if you can't figure that out, but he's asking, was Tito married or not dating his wife at the time? Is that why the wife doesn't
So
like
he
him?
wasn't married, but he got married like 3 months after I was born. So um unless it was a quick meeting and engagement, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know
No.
their story or when they started dating each other. So
Yeah, we get that. Young Macho Man wants to know, can you suplex BITCHs in
I
the ring?
can. And the last person I suplexed in the ring was actually Brian Cage because we were practicing them, and I have a video of it, which is pretty funny.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that video. Do
Yeah, I'll
you
send it to
do
you.
this same person asked when you come into New Jersey for an autograph session, but he is also asking if you do make a wish visits.
I haven't done Make-A-Wish visits. I don't know. Um, I mean, that'd be cool to get involved in the charity. I love that. Like, I donate to St. Jude all the time. I think it's a great cause. But I don't know if I'd be anyone's wish, but it'd be super cool to get involved and help the kids.
And how's Las Vegas these days in general? I haven't been there for a few years. Oh,
I got
are you
someone. I got someone.
finally? Now I'm thinking about what the
And
heck
the lights
is.
so like yellow.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you're fine.
Vegas is warm. It's so we were just in Philly for WrestleCon and it was freezing. And so it was so great to be back in Vegas because it was horrible.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's not as bad as here, but you've been going to Toronto, which is a little warmer than Ottawa.
Yeah, so when I went to Toronto in December, it was so cold. It was like -6 degrees, where it said on the plane it was like outside temperature. It was like -6 when we landed. And it was horrible. So it was so cold. And then I stayed after the Demand Lucha show when I went to the UFC. and it was so cold, and we had to walk like I mean, it wasn't that far, but it was just, I haven't lived in Pennsylvania since '04. And so my body definitely adapted to Las Vegas weather, and I don't know, I can't take it anymore. I can't take the cold. It's too much for me.
Yeah, neither can I. I hope I can get out of here for the full winter this year, this coming year. But it gets warm here in the summer, so you're actually going to like May when you come back
I hope
to
so.
Toronto.
I hope so, because the last time I was there, I had like gloves and 3 pairs of socks, and it was just not good. So,
Yeah, well, the snow's all gone now, and it is warming up in mid-May. Usually isn't that bad. So as far as WrestleMania night two, or night one, sorry, that was the Rock's big match. How
yeah.
was that? Did he get the loudest reaction of the night?
Um, I think so. It was there was people, you know, I was so cold that I literally thought that I had frostbite on my feet that night. So I was like, please. It was a great show, but I was like, please, this has to end, because it started at like 7 and it was 11:30. It was almost 11:30. It still was not over. And there was people next to us in like tank tops. And I was like, oh my gosh, how are you even alive right now? But yeah, The Rock was one of the biggest pops for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with the major companies these days. They do like 5 hour shows, which is just too much. Like I got free tickets to one not too long ago. I lasted 3 hours. I had to leave. It was just too
Yeah.
much.
It was a long one. Yeah.
But at least at the end for yours, you're getting the rock. But I can understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Someone's still talking. Okay, we're gonna check that out. The interview's almost done. They said you've been working with Caesar Gracie and
Um,
supposedly will be at Karate Combat. They did not say if you're fighting or not.
are you
Does
sure
that
they were
sound like?
talking about me?
Have you been working with Caesar Gracie?
No.
I don't even know who that is. Obviously, one of the Gracies. Who
I'm gonna have to
knows?
reach out to him and be like, hey, how's our training sessions going?
Lots of someone saying Mania is not going to be in the Northeast for a while again. I heard they're going to do it later in April if they do it again because it was so cold.
Isn't it like between Minneapolis and Vegas? So we'll keep our fingers crossed for
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah. I'm according to John Paz, who knows all the backstage stuff. He says he's hearing it's pretty solid Minneapolis, but maybe Vegas the next year.
Okay,
Who
okay.
knows? Either way, I'm probably not going, so it doesn't matter to me.
Maybe
So
you'll go. We could do like backstage interviews and it'll be fun.
yeah, maybe. I'd actually rather deal with MMA people and UFO people than wrestling people sometimes. Less egos. But you're I won't use the word beautiful because it's been used too much today, but you're very lovely young lady. I'm sure the wrestlers have a different reaction to you than me. But where can people follow you if they want to keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, so for sure, Instagram. So Jenny underscore Santana underscore. And the clinic, if you're ever in the need for stem cells, IVs, anything health related in Vegas, it's LV Infinite Wellness, also on Instagram, or that awfully hard website to remember, infinitewellness.info. And then Twitter
I'm not
or
saying it's hard for you to remember, but when I was in New Jersey, nobody could tell me the address of the office.
I don't actually know what theirs is. So I
Oh,
agree
it's
with you on
different.
that one.
Okay.
It might,
I
yeah.
didn't
So
realize.
theirs is called Integrated Pain Management. So their website is a little bit tricky. So yeah, that one I totally concur with you. So if you want to find the Jersey one, go to infinitewellness.info, and I'm pretty sure there's a link to the Jersey one. So
And hopefully, Jack Kilby, who's running Great North Wrestling now, will finally be able to get you out here one of these times to wrestle in this area of Canada because I know the fans of my channel really like you. This guy
Well,
even
you
says
know
you have
what?
great engagement with the audience.
So at WrestleCon, I actually got to meet up again with Too Cold Scorpio, which was super cool because that was my first time ever in the ring was being his manager, if you remember that. But then it ended with me getting power bombed as well. So it didn't end so well for me, but it was awesome to see him again.
Yeah, that I ended up with a severe concussion and a torn pec in that match, so
I
that wasn't the best night for me. But it was a memorable night for sure. And the worst part about that concussion is we went to that great deli and like I couldn't eat the damn food, and that was just the worst part about
I'm
it. But
pretty
I had
sure they
fun.
had the best pickles though, and I did enjoy
They
those.
Yeah, that's a secret about Jenny, guys. She loves pickles. So thank you again, Jenny. It's been nice talking to you again. Yes, Rick, Paul Roma is coming to Great North Wrestling. I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to. Or I'll ask this one last question. Are you a natural redhead? There you go. Isbin thinks blonde.
No,
I.
if you Google my baby pictures, I literally look exactly like Tito. So I have the same color hair.
There you go. Well, thanks again. We appreciate you checking in. We're glad you're doing great. I hope the karate combat thing is real for you.
Yeah, me too.
And I think you really should apply. At least take yourself 20 minutes and apply to WWE.
I
That would
don't know
be
if they'll even look at the application. They want really, really young athletes right now.
all right.
So
Well, we do have some WWE producers that watch this, so if you are watching, please give her a tryout at least. So close this up however you want to say goodbye to the fans, and thanks all the fans for the lovely no negative comments about you today. So that's great. No
oh, I
haters.
thought you like diverted them all, so I couldn't see any.
No, no.
Okay.
I do
I
that with
just
some people, but not with you.
I just want to thank everyone for watching, for not putting any negative comments on there. It's been great to share the last hour with you. I really appreciate your comments. Thank you for giving me comments of saying I'm so beautiful. That's awesome. But the personality comments are awesome because I love when people can connect with my personality and things like that. So I appreciate all of the feedback from you guys. Thank you for spending the last hour with me and your questions to get to know me. I hope that you've gotten to know me a little bit better than you had before this. And I look forward to maybe being back on the show for sure. If you want to stay in touch with me, follow me on Instagram. Again, Jenni _Santana_. And I will keep you updated on what's going on. Also, be sure to follow Nikki Page. She's an upcoming artist and her music is amazing. So, also, if you stay in touch with Sunday Slam, it's our podcast that we're starting. And for sure, if you ever need some healthcare stuff, Infinite Wellness. But I really appreciate the hour and have a great night, guys.